foreclosures and $30 million oceanfront, mansions. The reason being is that they need to understand that all of these things exist, and you can buy one just as easily as you can buy the other if you understand the mechanics of how to get a deal done. So that's sort of something foundational that I think we can people like me and any other real estate professional or anyone who has the understanding of how these things work. We have a responsibility to make sure that there are other people around us that know this is how you do it. There are books that can tell you how it happens and stuff like that.
This is another interesting question. I have tons of friends of mine locally as well. Real estate is part of what they do. So why is it that we are so focused on real estate as basically what I call the housing part of real estate, of the apartment part of real estate? I don't see enough of us doing what you're doing, which is actually getting involved in the other part of real estate, which is the big money real estate. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with being involved in that part of real estate where you're selling houses or you're selling apartment rentals and things of that nature. I mean, that's a very viable part of real estate. But it seems to me that as a rule, our agents, for whatever reason, that seems to be the focus of most of them. When I talk to these people that are going into real estate, and like I said, it's a very popular field. It's probably one of our most popular fields. They are usually talking about for lack of a better term, the lower end of the real estate market. I don't hear enough people actually trying to get involved, like my friend Derek, who works with Maverick. That's the one who's handling that property on the bigger side of the picture. I was just wondering, as a real estate person, why you feel that it is that we get caught up on the lower side of real estate as a career.
Because the short answer is because we get trained that way. I had a very good friend of mine a few years ago when I did my first big deal. I did a $30 million deal in downtown Miami. That was my first big deal. And I had bought a car and did some investing with some real estate developers, a bunch of other stuff. And this gentleman was a mutual friend of some of my other friends in Atlanta. And he had just recently got his real estate license. And we had been hanging out, for a couple of weeks. I had shown him around some other properties, and we would talk real estate. And he had to go do a continuing education class for his real estate license. And while he was in this class, he was in the class with a bunch of other relatively new agents. And one of the people in the class asked a question about selling the luxury stuff on the beach. And the teacher told this person that it was unrealistic for them to expect to be able to sell that. Oh, you shouldn't focus on that. You should only focus on maybe between $150,000 and $300,000. That's where you should focus on, because that luxury stuff, you'll never break into that market. And he sent me a text message while he was in the class saying, "You're not going to believe what the teacher is telling the students that they can't sell that." So I think, and this is a diverse class, so this isn't just a class full of black folks. So I think that is even more exacerbated in the black community, just because people don't think it's possible. And part of that is what I call a visibility and viability issue. Is people like me are not as visible as we should be, so that we can articulate our viability. My viability is that I have a track record. I've done those deals. I have those relationships. I have to raise my visibility so that people know I'm here, not just the buyers, the celebrities that are using agents from outside of our community, but the other agents who come and say, "Hey, I want to sell that." When I first got here to South Florida, I spent, a good while trying to find agents that were doing what I wanted to do, and I couldn't find anyone who looked like me that was selling luxury real estate. So because of that, I now am trying to be that person.
Yeah, I understand that, and I think we've got some other callers. I definitely want you to stay on the line while we still got time to talk about a variety of things. But one of the things that I found really interesting is what you just said about visibility, because that is one of my beefs, and I was actually getting ready to bring that up when we were just doing general discussion, me and Dean earlier, about our press, because I am of the opinion that too often our press, and you just brought up earlier Essence and Black Enterprise, we don't concentrate enough on our own victories, and we spend way too much time on the negative stuff in our own communities. And I'm even thinking about like the Black print press, where I get tired of the articles about the social clubs and things of that nature, and the articles about the bad things that are happening, and even to some degree the political stuff that is going on. But I can't think, like you just mentioned, those things that you hadn't seen listed in Black Enterprise, like those real estate ads. I also can't think of an article in our local publications on somebody like you that might be selling high-end stuff. Like we've got a neighborhood here called Trayburn, which is kind of like it's got its own golf course. It's got some fancy stuff. It's actually where Branford Marcellus lives and everything. But I can't think of, and I'm sure there's agents that are of color that are out there, as well as people of color that live out there. But, and definitely we've got our Research Triangle Park and all of this area, but we don't spend enough time focusing on our victories. I'm not saying that we don't need to cover the negative things and the bad things, but we also don't spend enough time on our victories.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I think some of it is a advertising issue. That's the negative stuff. Kind of why the current president gets so much press is not because these media outlets are interested in what he has to say as much as they know people click on that and people will read it. Everybody likes to watch a train wreck. That's why there's traffic. If you're going in the northbound lane and there's an accident in the southbound lane, everybody's looking, because they want to see. That clickbait is very strong. My background was marketing before I got into real estate, and I talked to my wife, I talked to my kids about that a lot, in being able to sort of discern the truth from the fluff. And that's something that we get a lot of, not only in our community, but all over. But it's even more, can be more toxic in our community because of the places it comes from.
No doubt. So if you just hold on to the line, I want to find out from Dean. Dean, do we have some other people that just called in as well?
We sure do. We have Miss Aisha Benton waiting to come in.
All right.
Are you enjoying the smoothest conversation in podcasting? Straight Talk with Dean and Mark. Hi, this is DJ Smooth Jazz, syndicated radio host and co-owner of Portfolio Group LLC, your smooth jazz lifestyle and entertainment group with offices in Durham, North Carolina. Portfolio Group LLC specializes in promoting the lifestyle of smooth jazz listeners with the promotion of smooth jazz events and the distribution of African-American-owned wines. For more information, portfoliogroupllc.com, or you can swing by my secondary site, djsmoothjazz.com. Now back to Straight Talk with Dean and Mark.
And we welcome Miss Aisha Benton to the show. Welcome to Straight Talk with Dean and Mark.
Hi, thank you.
How are you doing, Aisha? If you'll just share a little bit, we've been talking to Nathaniel about the real estate market, but if you'll just share a little bit about what you're all about, and then we'll keep rolling dialogue that we've been having. We've been actually talking about gentrification and what's going on with that, as well as how we're not doing enough in real estate with Nathaniel, who's still on the line. But if you just share a little bit about what you've got going on.
Sure. I'm afraid not much to report on the real estate end, as I'm a full-time grad student. But, yeah, my name is Aisha. I'm from Detroit originally, and I am a dual master's student studying theology and also public policy at Duke. So I'm interested in the intersection between faith and civic engagement. And before grad school, I spent 10 years out in Los Angeles, California, working as a commercial actress. So booked a number of national commercials, did theater, got an NAACP Theater Award, and then kind of life took a different direction. And for the past 4 years, I've been en route training for, this new path. And so, happy to be here.
The new pastor, glad to have you here, definitely, Aisha. And one of the new pastors is that you're the praise leader over there at Christ Central, the church that meets out of Hayti. And we've talked a little bit in the past about some of that shift from being in first Detroit, where you were born at, to L.A., which was a whole different kind of world, that whole entertainment world, and now going into the more religious kind of aspect of life and everything. But how some of the things that have happened that we hear about in the entertainment world, unfortunately, also transpire in the church world as well, because we do know that some of the reasons that some of the Me Too stuff has happened is because there are people that are not necessarily reflective of what the community could be, even within the church community. And, of course, we know that happened in the entertainment industry. So while it may not be happening in the current church that you're in, thank goodness, but it definitely has happened in other churches and places that you've been involved in. So we can see that just society in general still has a ways to go in terms of the way that we treat women in society and even in the church society.
Yeah, absolutely. Unfortunately, kind of ignorance and bigotry and hate and misogyny is not relegated to a particular domain of society and even a country. It's pervasive. In fact, I spent a summer in South Africa and experienced kind of the intersection of white supremacy and misogyny coming together, and was just victimized by kind of a misuse and misapplication of power from a white male minister there. And so, while South Africa has been out of apartheid for nearly 30 years, the ramifications of those type of power dynamics are certainly still at play and do not escape even the church in that country or in this one for that matter. So, I'm excited about different movements that are happening to increase visibility in that regard, and hopefully that visibility leads to real change.
Yeah, and that actually brings up an interesting question. I want to bring you into the discussion as well. But because when I see the real estate agents that I'm talking about, a number of them, even in those, like, definitely in the regular real estate market, are women. But I don't see definitely enough women in what you were talking about, which is kind of the high-end real estate. So I was wondering, how are we doing in terms of getting our representation in the industry, and also particularly our women representation? Like, I know a lot of people were very excited about the victories that were made on the House side. And we're still waiting to find out what's going to happen in your state right now, but they're very excited about what happened on the House side with the 2 Muslim women elected and the 2 Native American women elected, and a number of other people winning in various seats and everything. So we know that there's some new plays in there, but I was just wondering, how is the real estate industry doing in terms of women representation and African American representation, and just minority representation in general?
Right now, the real estate industry as a whole is overwhelmingly white. The average real estate agent is, if I'm not mistaken, between, I believe it's 37 and 45, and it's a white woman. And they make roughly about $50,000 a year. As that price point goes up, you start to see more men in commercial real estate. So if you look at shopping centers and things of that nature, it's overwhelmingly white and male. And I think a lot of that goes back to the visibility and the viability stuff I talked about, but I think it's also a recruiting issue. I just don't think that there are a lot of us going out and recruiting us to come in. And real estate is not a easy thing to get into alone. Most agents don't make any real money until they've been in it for roughly about 6 months. So you got to have 6 months worth of bill money saved up, or a spouse or significant other or someone who can help you, get by until you get enough deals in your pipeline to make a living. which is a big deterrent. So that those are challenges that on top of